Jeffrey Johnson and Malia Carson are here, and they are seniors at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. They are two of 20 members of Extending the Link. It is normally a pretty large venture. They are a student, not-for-profit documentary film company, and they work together to produce documentaries to ignite social change in our communities. ETL's mission is to foster discussion on global issues. By applying these documentaries as vehicles for positive social change, ETL inspires and empowers students, faculty, alumni, and the greater community to work for improved social justice at home and abroad. And I guess we can agree, I'm sure, that there is never a shortage of that type of thinking. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next presenters tonight, Jeff and Malia, everybody. Come on, give it up for them.
Hello, we are Extending Link, and what you're about to see is the trailer for our forthcoming film.
I think with waste, it's been a slowly mounting crisis, but I think we've come to the point now of no return. You know, we're going to have our own revolution in dealing with all types of waste.
There are more mobile phones in existence than there are a number of people living on Earth.
We have to keep continually updating what we're doing because the electronic waste stream is changing. You know, initially it was TVs and radios and things of that nature. Now you have personal computers, you have cell phones. We have just such a changing electronic waste stream.
We've all got electronic waste. We all have this problem. We've got to get rid of our old phone or our old computer. Just toss it? I don't think so. Think again. This stuff is toxic. It is the largest growing waste stream on the planet. We're creating mountains of it. And where is it going? To the places where they can least afford to deal with it properly.
The people who are employed or who are working on this e-waste are again the most invisible communities, which are marginalized, which are the most vulnerable. So the damage to their health would not be known for a long time because in any way they are invisible, you know, they don't matter. So how can we make, you know, in US context, every life matter?
If we want to try to solve this problem, we need the help from China, we need the help from America. So I hope with those, with greater concern, the people from a different part of the world can collaborate and try to work out to see if we can solve the problem.
Electronics recycling can truly be beautiful. It's taking something unwanted and turning it back into something that the whole world needs, right? We're completely addicted to electronic devices.
And it's not just young people, it's anybody who's addicted to their phones or the electronic devices or buying the newest, coolest, funnest thing. Is think about what you're buying and make good choices.
We gotta think about it. We can do better as human in the world, in the society.
Everybody plays a role in that. Let's do our job.
So my name is Jeff Johnson. I'm a videographer for ETL.
And my name is Malia Carson, and I am one of the co-directors for this year's film. So as Jared wonderfully introduced, Extending the Link is not trying to make the bus go to Sal's. We get that question a lot. We are, though, a vehicle for social change, and so we focus on undertold social justice issues.
Extending the Link began over 10 years ago with a student named Andrea Carroll. She was an e-scholar with the McNeely Center, and after a trip to Guatemala, study abroad trip, she was inspired to make a documentary to inspire social change. And she wanted to focus on fair trade coffee. Her documentary was successful in getting both of the coffee shops on our campuses to start selling fair trade coffee, as well as the local blend in St. Joe.
And since then, we have made 9 documentaries. This is actually our 10th year. And as we've developed, we've really realized how important it is to focus not just on going somewhere abroad, but to bring that story home here as well and see what does the issue look like abroad, but also what's going on locally. And this year, as you just saw from our trailer, we chose the topic of electronic waste.
So when we got back to the fall and we started to think about how we're going to make our documentary, we started to leverage the connections we'd made through our research over the summer, and we started to interview people. We visited nonprofits and fix-it clinics, and we discovered some interesting things about e-waste and how it's being processed correctly here in the United States. We found that some of these nonprofits are providing career opportunities for people who might not otherwise be able to find a job. And we discovered that some of these nonprofits are helping to close the digital divide by providing refurbished computers at a low cost to people in need.
Yeah, so as Jeff said, we learned a lot about how to properly recycle your electronics, as well as what happens if you don't. There's a lot of lead, there's a lot of mercury, metals. Thomas could probably break down how this is toxic in landfills and chemicals. We can't, but we've interviewed people that can, and so that'll be in the documentary. But we also learned that the majority of our waste is being exported to Hong Kong, and one of our partners at the Basel Action Network put little trackers in our electronics to see, are these companies breaking them down as they should, and found the majority of them actually ended up over in Hong Kong and went further to investigate. So over the winter break, 6 of our students actually traveled there for 3 weeks to kind of find out what was going on.
While we were over there, it wasn't a typical tourist experience. When you're trying to make a documentary, you're looking for specific images that will help to tell your story. So our cameras brought us into some different places that you wouldn't normally see while you're vacationing.
Yeah, we hung out at container parks. We went on hikes around landfills for a long time. We were trying to see where are these electronics ending up, and not in an investigative sense, but just seeing who are the people that are behind these and what's going on. We actually had a wonderful alumni connection, Patrick Lung, and he was kind of our translator and tourist because he's from Hong Kong, and so he took us all over the place.
Once we got back, it was time to get serious about the process of storytelling.
But actually, while we were there, we interviewed a variety of people because, again, we didn't want to investigate this topic, but we wanted to see what was going on. And so we met with environmentalists, we met with some investigative teams too to get these connections to find out villagers and see. We walked around a farm and learned what are these toxins from these informal facilities. There's these places where they get the electronics and they break them down in just unethical ways that kind of pull apart materials. They burn them in acid, they melt them in open flames, and it's just very toxic for the communities. We were told again and again that we wouldn't be able to speak to people who do this kind of work, but we actually did get connections. We met with an anthropologist who kind of showed us this world of low-end globalization, so the movement of counterfeit products. And he was actually the man earlier that you could only see his hands. And so he told us kind of behind the scenes of what these things look like.
Once we got back, then we began to start to pull together all of the threads of the story, and we had over 30 interviews to sort of transcribe and look through. So we gave each member of our 20-member team a number of interviews, and they sat at their computers and typed them up into a huge document, and we coded them by theme or in color and character and whatever worked to condense that script down to 30 minutes. And then it was time to head up into the lab, computer lab on 4th floor quad. And we've been there pretty much ever since, sort of refining the documentary and working on it. And so the first step in that process is to layer the A-roll. That's all of the interviews that we've conducted, sort of like us speaking up here. And then over the top of that, we place B-roll, which is what you're seeing up on the screen. And then underneath that, we have to have music. So we actually talked to Fawn Lee, another one of our presenters tonight, and we've used some of her music, and we put titles and transitions, and hopefully in 2.5 weeks, if everything goes according to plan, it'll be done. Yeah. We'll be ready to show all of you our premiere, our film. So
So as you've heard again and again today, you all took out your phones, we've talked about electronics, they're everywhere, they're all over the place, and there's more electronics than people. So this issue of an electronic waste stream is not going away, and you need to be aware of it. Be aware of what's in your products, what happens if they're not properly recycled, what to do to properly recycle them. Ask questions, where are they going? Are they ending up in Hong Kong? Are they ending up in your own community in landfills? So really just be mindful with your waste and where it's going.
As you saw in the trailer, we all got a drawer of electronics that we haven't used in a while. They were our phones for 2 years, but now they sit unused. You can donate that technology to people who need it. And if you've got older technology, it can be recycled properly. So be mindful of all of those things as you live in a digital world.
And so we invite you all to come to our documentary, of course. It's going to be April 20th at the Stephen B. Humphrey. So we would love to see you all again. We also have all of our past films up on YouTube, along with this trailer and some promos and just other fun. We've made little e-waste robots that do fun stop-motion stuff. So check it all out. And also just, again, be aware of your electronics, think about it, and see what you can do in your own communities with these global issues. Thank you.
Thank you.